Hey guys, I'm back. This is part 2 of the video that I was talking about my experience with God speaking to me about hidden treasure and the wealth transfer. So, and excuse the light because it's literally 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:22 to be exact, and I can't sleep because I need to put this out into the world. So here I am in my PJs putting this out because I had been really needing to do it for some time and I just kept putting it off. But I'm just like, tonight is the night I'm going to do it, or this morning is the morning I'm going to do it, right? All right, so as I was saying, I in the last video, and if you haven't watched the first one, make sure you watch the first one so you can follow along to what I'm talking about in the second video. So I gave up on the whole, researching, learning. It became overwhelming for me, so I gave up on it. So I don't know what happened, but one night I came home from work, I think it was, and I just decided I'm going to spend time with God tonight. I'm going to get all the things that I need to do out of the way, and I'm just going to sit, read my Bible, pray, really go in after God. Not asking for anything, nothing to do with Shiba, nothing to do with anything. I just want to spend time with God. I just want to hear from God, right? And so I did that. And after I was done praying, I said to God, I was like, Father, just speak to me, speak to me. And I sat there for a while waiting to hear something. I heard nothing, and then I ended up laying down, which is always a mistake. But I laid down and I ended up falling asleep. So nothing, I didn't have any dream. I just fell asleep. And then when I woke up, I saw that it was pretty late. It was like after midnight. And so I got up, turned off all the lights or whatever, and really went to sleep. So when I went to sleep that night, I did have a dream. And I wrote the dream down, and I'm going to read it to you guys. All right, so I had this dream on September the 14th of this year, obviously. Okay, so I said I had a dream that was a bit all over the place, but there are bits and pieces I recall. I remember a sister in my dream. This is a sister from church. She was with her son, or not she was with her son. I remember a sister, her son. In the dream, I kept calling him Jacob, but I don't think that's his name. I know now his name is Josiah, but in the dream, I was thinking, as I was looking at him in the dream, the name Jacob kept coming to me, but I knew his name wasn't Jacob. I didn't know what his name was then, but now I know it's Josiah. So in the dream, I was calling him Jacob. Although she does have a son named Jacob, and her son, that name is Jacob, he is the youngest. So the guy that was in the dream, he is her second oldest child. But her actual son, whose name is Jacob, is the last born. Okay, so keep that in mind because it's important. Okay, so anyways, he was making a point and was passionate about it. However, he didn't finish and said that he would do more research about it. So in the dream, he was making a very passionate point, talking to this group of people, but he didn't finish. He decided that he would do more research about what he was talking about. So I remember seeing him come and sit down beside his mom. And it was like he was about to grab the remote control for the TV, and she stopped him. Okay. And so I said it probably didn't happen in this order because, again, the dream was all over the place. But I recall another sister She was reading from the book of Obadiah, and that's important. And I remember her saying, Ye, Y-E, means Yahweh wants to spend time with you. And so the next part was there was a scene where I saw a minister, and it was like he was talking to his wife on the phone, and it sounded like he was teaching her, like he was like talking to her on the phone, but it was like he was teaching her about something. I remember thinking, I wish somebody else was like that. So I woke up normal. I woke up like normal and I prayed. But I was a bit perplexed by what the dream meant. So I read the book of Obadiah. So the first time I just listened and read along, and then I ended up just reading it on my own without listening. I just read it. So there's a verse in the book of Obadiah. It has 21 verses, but verse 6 was confirmation for me. Verse 6 of Obadiah, the Lord, I'm sorry, this is what I wrote. And there in verse 6 was confirmation of what the Lord has been speaking to many regarding what he's getting ready to do in the earth. The entire chapter is about what he will do to Edom, who is the descendant of Esau. And in the same book, he also mentions Jacob. Okay? So I went back and listened to the minister that was in my dream. I went back and listened to a sermon that he had preached at our church a month to the date of my dream. Like, so it was, my dream was on September the 14th, and this minister preached October the 14th a message called Invested in Jesus. So I went back after reading the book of Obadiah and getting that confirmation that completely blew my mind. And I'm going to read the book of Obadiah so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. So I went back and read the book. So I read the book of Obadiah, and then I went back and listened to that archived message that the minister preached a month prior, because he was in my dream. So I felt God was telling me I needed to go and listen to that message again. So in the message, so funny, the message that this man was preaching about, his title was Investing in Jesus, right? So keep in mind, this was a month before. This was after I had my experience with the Lord where he spoke that phrase, hidden treasure, to me. And so I had that in my mind and in my spirit, and then all the videos, and I was already in the research of crypto, right? So the message that he spoke on, he used, his illustration was the stock market. So I'm sitting in the service, which is crazy because even before the service started, during the praise and worship and all of that part, I had been literally wrestling in my mind in that service about that word and just trying to get my spirit to the point of, God, help me to believe in this word, what you're speaking to me. Help me to believe it. And I'm getting emotional because, and a lot of us are in this place where we've never had anything. We grew up poor, and here we are, we're adults, and we're still struggling, and we just want a breakthrough. We just want financial breakthrough and change. We just want to do the things that we know we're called to do, but we need the finances to do it. And so I've always had some type of struggle when it comes to finances, and it frustrates the heck out of me. Okay? And so I remember prior to all of this, and it's probably going to be a part 3 of this video because I don't want it to be too long to where I can't upload it. And I want you guys to get this. So I remember prior to all of this, even the word the Lord had given me, I was having another moment with the Lord, a come to Jesus moment. I was sitting down with the Lord and I was weeping, and literally to the point of, just, when the Bible talks about with groanings that cannot be understood, I was like weeping over my bloodline, weeping over my life, my family, my purpose, all of it. And I was like, just praying for the Lord to bless me. And I didn't know how that would come or what he would say or do. At that point, he hadn't said anything. And so my birthday month came and I decided to fast, the first 3 days of every week for that month. And then the Lord gave me that word in that second week. And so I followed it. But in the following came the upsets and the frustrations and the overwhelmment and all of that, right? So anyways, the dream happened. I listened to the message again. Like I said, this guy, even though he was talking about the stock market and how people invest in the stock market, how the best investment we can make is in Jesus, right? Because even though the stock market changes, it goes up and down, Jesus never changes, right? And so listening to that message, it solidified to me in my mind that Jesus is the hidden treasure. And when the girl said in my dream that Yahweh wants to spend time with you, it was like a light bulb went off in my mind. Like, God wants to bless us, but he wants us to know that he is our reward. He is our exceeding great reward. He is greater than money. He is greater than gold, silver, any material good. He's greater than our purpose. He's greater than ministry. He is the reward. He is the treasure. And he wants to take us. Sometimes God is not just going to always lay out everything for us. He's not just going to lay it out like that. Sometimes you have to dig. The Bible says that he is a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. And so sometimes you have to go on those treasure hunts with Jesus. Sometimes you have to go on, those deep dives with him. It's not always just going to be spelt out or laid out for you. Sometimes you got to do the research. You got to do the work. And most of the time, actually, that's the way it is. It's not sometimes, most of the time. That is how it is, because God, just like we want to be pursued, Jesus wants to be pursued. He wants to know that we love him for him, that we truly want him. You know what I mean? And so he's going to take you through those things. And the beautiful thing about God is it's going to be worth your while. It's going to be worth your while. You're going to get him. It's kind of like when he visited Solomon, King Solomon. And he said, ask me what you will and I'll give it to you. And Solomon asked for wisdom. Of all the things he could have asked for, he asked for wisdom to lead the people of God. And God said, because you didn't ask of me riches, you didn't ask me to, spare you of your enemies, I'm going to give you all of those things. I'm going to give you wisdom. You're going to be more wise than anyone has ever been. But I'm also going to make you the wealthiest person in the world. I'm also going to spare you from your enemies. And for that entire reign of Solomon, he never had to fight. He never had to go to war. It was 40 years of peace in the reign of Solomon, because he never asked for riches. He asked for wisdom. And God saw his heart. And he said, because of that, because you want my wisdom to lead my people, I'm going to grant it to you. But I'm also going to grant you what you didn't ask for. And so that is where we have to come to the place where God is more important than any material good. We're not just after you, Lord, for the stuff.